Eintiero, picture this. You are an ancient Greek hero. You have the chiseled jawline of a god, a bronze chestplate that shines like the sun, and a spear sharp enough to shave a lion. You have been chosen to sail across the Aegean Sea to fight in the legendary Trojan War. The bards are already tuning their lyres to sing of your glorious deeds. There is only one tiny, microscopic problem. You do not know where Troy is. In fact, you do not even know where your own left sandal is. Meet Navigatos of Mycenae. Navigatos is a brave man. He is a strong man. But geographically speaking, Navigatos has the mental capacity of a concussed jellyfish. In a world before compasses, lighthouses, or Google Maps, Navigatos is about to turn a simple 3-day boat trip into an international maritime disaster. Welcome to ancient Greece, 800 BC, where getting lost isn't just an inconvenience. It is an epic poem in the making. Our story begins in the dusty streets of Mycenae, where Navigatos is currently trying to leave his house to go to the market. He walks out the front door, turns left, walks straight into a stone wall, apologizes to the wall, turns right, and ends up in his neighbor's chicken coop. Navigatos yells, waving his sword at a confused rooster. The legendary beasts of the underworld. I knew this day would come. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the man who is supposed to save Greek honor. Backstory. To understand why Navigatos is such a navigational nightmare, we have to look at the world of 800 BC. Greece was just emerging from its dark ages. The great Mycenaean palaces had collapsed centuries ago. People were finally learning how to write again, using a fancy new alphabet they stole from the Phoenicians, and population growth meant everyone was suddenly obsessed with colonizing new lands. But sailing in the ancient Mediterranean was not like taking a cruise today. It was terrifying. Sailors did not have compasses. They sailed by dead reckoning and cabotage, which is a fancy historical term for hugging the coast for dear life and praying you do not hit a rock. If you lost sight of the shore, you were basically asking Poseidon to use your ship as a toothpick. Navigatos grew up in a family of legendary explorers. His father had sailed to the Black Sea. His grandfather had mapped the Nile Delta. His mother could tell the wind direction just by smelling the air. Navigatos, however, once spent 3 weeks trying to find his way out of a public bathhouse. His parents tried everything. They sent him to the best tutors in Sparta, but he got lost on the way to the school and ended up living with a family of confused badgers for a month. Despite this, Navigatos possessed an ironclad confidence. He believed that he didn't get lost. Rather, the earth simply shifted its geography whenever he walked. His best friend, the poet Homer, was determined to write an epic about him. Homer would sit on a rock, lyre in hand, waiting to write down lines of poetic genius. Oh, sing to me, muse, of the clever hero who. Homer would begin, only to stop as Navigatos tripped over his own shield and fell into a well. Actually, Homer would mutter, scratching out the lines, "Let's make the hero's name Odysseus." It sounds less like a guy who eats paste. The problem: one sunny morning, the ultimate challenge arrives. A royal messenger arrives in Mycenae with a scroll. Helen of Sparta has been taken to Troy. King Agamemnon is gathering a fleet of 1,000 ships to sail across the Aegean Sea and sack the city. Every hero is summoned. The messenger hands the scroll to Navigatos, who reads it upside down. Great Zeus! Navigatos gasps. The Trojans have stolen our sacred cabbages. Homer sighs, rubbing his temples. No, Navigatos. It says Helen, the queen. We are going to war. We must sail to Troy. Now, Troy is located in modern-day Turkey. From Greece, it is a straight shot northeast across the Aegean. For a normal captain, it is a relatively simple voyage. Follow the chain of islands, keep the rising sun on your right cheek, and try not to anger any giant sea monsters. But for Navigatos, this is a death sentence. If he cannot lead his ship to Troy, he will be branded a coward, his family will be disgraced, and worst of all, he will miss the post-war victory banquet, which promised unlimited olives and spit-roasted pig. Do not worry, Homer, Navigatos declares, pointing his sword toward the southwest. To Troy, where the sun rises in the west and the oceans are made of goat cheese. Homer covers his eyes. We are going to die in Italy, aren't we? Attempts to solve. Navigatos knows he needs help, so he decides to consult the experts. His first stop is the famous Oracle of Delphi. The oracle sits on a tripod over a chasm of intoxicating gas, babbling incoherent prophecies. Navigados asks, "Oh, holy priestess, how do I find the path to Troy?" The oracle inhales a deep breath of gas, rolls her eyes back, and screams, "Go where the sheep smells of fish, and turn when the crow barks like a dog." Navigados is thrilled. Brilliant. Scented sheep and barking crows. It makes perfect sense. He runs out, buys a sheep, rubs it with old sardines, and throws it onto his ship. 3 days later, the ship is covered in flies. The sheep is incredibly depressed, and they are currently floating near Egypt. Homer is seasick over the railing. Navigados, why are there pyramids here? Troy does not have pyramids. A minor detour, Homer. Navigados replies, "The fish sheep led us here." Realizing the oracle was a scam, Navigados tries his second method, stellar navigation. He has heard that Phoenician sailors used the Little Dipper to find the north. That night, Navigados stares at the sky. Ah, the stars. "Look, Homer, the Great Bear constellation." "Yes," Homer says, hopeful. "Do you see it?" "Indeed." Navigados says. "It looks exactly like a giant bowl of soup. And look, there is the spoon. We must sail toward the spoon." He turns the rudder sharply. Unfortunately, what Navigados thinks is the spoon is actually a smudge of grease on his own helmet. He sails his ship in circles for 12 hours, creating a massive whirlpool that nearly sinks 3 passing merchant vessels. The merchants scream curses at them in 4 different languages. Desperate, Navigados tries his third and final option. He buys a map from a Phoenician trader. The Phoenicians are the undisputed masters of the sea. The trader hands him a beautiful, detailed map on a sheepskin. "This map," the trader says, "will guide you to the ends of the earth." There is only one problem. The map is written in the Phoenician alphabet. Since the Greeks are still figuring out how to write, Navigados cannot read a single letter. He assumes the drawings of sea monsters are actually instructions. "Look, Homer, to get to Troy, we must find a giant squid, tickle its tentacles, and then sail directly into its mouth." Homer grabs the map, throws it into the sea, and begins weeping openly. Unexpected twist. Just as Homer is about to jump overboard to swim back to Greece, the sky suddenly darkens. A smell of olives and ozone fills the air. A bright beam of divine light shoots down from Mount Olympus, striking the deck of the ship. Out of the light steps the goddess Athena, looking highly annoyed. "I cannot take this anymore," Athena says, rubbing her temples. "The gods on Mount Olympus have been watching you for a week." Zeus is laughing so hard he accidentally dropped a thunderbolt on a temple in Corinth, and Ares has lost 500 drachmas betting on whether you would accidentally sail into the Atlantic Ocean. Navigados bows. "Oh, glorious Athena, have you come to guide us?" "No," Athena snaps. "I have a job to do. But since my divine inbox is currently flooded with prayers from your crewmates begging for their lives, I am giving you this." She hands Navigados a heavy clay tablet. In the center of the tablet is a glowing bronze needle suspended in water, surrounded by magical glowing runes. "What is this wizardry?" Navigados asks, trying to eat it. "Do not eat it," Athena yells. "It is the Palace Navigator 1.0. It is an experimental global positioning stylus. It uses the divine power of Mount Olympus to track your location. Now watch." Athena taps the tablet. A magical, glowing blue hologram of an owl pops up. The hologram speaks in a robotic, passive-aggressive voice. "Welcome to Palace Maps. Please select your destination." Athena types on the tablet. "Destination set, Troy. Proceed north-northeast for 50 leagues." Navigados is amazed. A talking clay slab. This is better than the fish sheep. Athena sighs. "Just follow the voice. And please, for the love of my father Zeus, do not make any U-turns." With a flash of light, the goddess vanishes, leaving the heroes with the world's very first GPS. Resolution. At first, the GPS is a miracle. The voice keeps them on track. In 2 leagues, veer right to avoid the sirens. Caution, siren traffic is high today. Expected delay. 10 minutes of seductive singing. Navigados is overjoyed. "We are geniuses, Homer. We are sailing straight." But as they approach the coast of Asia Minor, the GPS begins to act like, well, A GPS in 300 cubits. Turn left, the voice says. Navigados looks left. There is a massive, solid rock cliff. Are you sure? Navigados asks. Turn left now, the voice repeats coldly. Navigados turns the rudder. The ship crashes directly into the rocks with a horrible splintering sound. The magical owl hologram flickers. You have arrived at your destination. Troy is on your left. Navigados climbs out of the wreckage, his helmet completely crushed over his face. He looks around. They are indeed in Troy, but they have crashed their ship directly into the city's main sewer outlet. The Trojan guards look down from the walls, completely bewildered by the ship sticking out of their toilet pipes.